That's not good. 50. So I'll show you what these are supposed to sound like. Unfortunately, I was working on this last night and we kept getting some smoke out of the driver's side tailpipe. And since this exhaust system isn't X-piped, it quickly let me know that there was a problem inside the engine. And I was concerned about it, so I pulled the plugs, and quickly, just pulling the plugs, I knew I had a cylinder number 3 failure. This is what a proper cranking compression should sound like. This engine has 175, 175, 175, 175, 175. It actually has 185 over there, but that's probably due to oil reversion through the intake going across. It is what it is. Got to fix it. So here's what a proper compression sounds like. You can tell the difference. 175. That's the second time it's hit the same number on the same amount of cranks. When you hear the engine, the starter labor to move past the compression cylinder, you hear the starter labor. And I count that like 6 or 7 times, and then I look at what the reading is. So 175, 50, 175, 175, 175, 185, but it's also very wet with oil. So the oil's probably making the difference. And then 175, 175. So all my cylinders are in good shape, except for number 3, and that's a problem. Basically, I was running it, and I'm like, man, this thing just doesn't feel right. And I was making improvements on my low-end power from changing my fueling. And that was when it all went bad. So when you build mechanical stuff, sometimes things go sideways, and this one's done exactly that. I need to call my customer today and let him know that I'm not going to be able to deliver his car to him this weekend because I need to take it all back apart again. Unfortunately, when you're building custom stuff, that happens. Mechanical stuff can be daunting at times. Last night I was ready to pull the engine out, and I decided to go home and eat some dinner because it was 7:30 after I had pulled the plugs and verified that I had an issue. I was thinking about coming back and taking it apart, and I finally slept on it. And through the night, I didn't sleep much, but through the night I like, well, I need to figure out why I only have one cylinder that's damaged. Because if it was a fueling problem from the injection system, all cylinders would be damaged, not just one. And we have been having the smoke out of the tailpipe. I had noticed smoking on D-cell out behind me when I was test driving it before I even put it on the dyno. So I'm wondering if this is a blessing in disguise, in such that I'm pushing this thing pretty hard on the dyno to get best performance out of it. Had the customer just gotten in it and Sunday driven this thing, this problem would never have come to face for 2, 3, maybe 4 years. And then we'd be tearing it down and everybody'd be, hey, you did this and you did this. And no, I found it in my shop. I can control what happens. If it's a problem with the engine manufacturing, I'm probably just going to fix it here and move on, because it took us 8 months to get this engine built. I can't imagine how long it would take to get a warranty repair for it. So this was not on my schedule for this year to do this engine again, but it does give us the opportunity to, I have a header clearancing spot over there on the torsion bar I can address, since I'll have the header out of it again. And I'll ask the customer if he wants to update to the Borgeson steering gear and Borgeson connector, rag link, since we'll have the engine back out. But that's the bad news for today. I have this Camaro I need to get finished. I have a diesel engine I need to get finished. I got to put back together this Auburn up here on the rack that we're trying to figure out coilovers for, because the coilovers that are in it are leaking, and I have been unsuccessful in finding the parts to service them. So we're looking at just replacing them. And once I get done with those 3 things, I can get back to this. In the meantime, I'm going to be pulling the engine out, stripping it down, cleaning everything up, and then we'll go back to trying to dyno this thing. It actually made really good power. It made 240, 301. It wasn't using any oil. And then after the last couple pulls I did last night, it drank a half quart of oil in 10 minutes. And when I drove it down the street, it was like James Bond's Lotus with the smoke screen going on behind it. Under light throttle, it was the left pipe. Under heavy throttle, it was both pipes, probably because it's filling the crankcase with combustion gases and vapor and cooking the oil and putting the oil through the PCV system and just burning it through the exhaust. So maybe this is what my problem with my intermittent kickback was this cylinder telling me, hey, I'm hurt. I don't know. We'll figure that out as we go. So engine out. That's my number 3 plug. So when I pulled it, I knew exactly where my problem was. I don't think putting a new plug in it's going to solve our problem. Here on this side it's off. Luckily for us, our oil pressure is really good. I'm not suspecting any type of bearing damage. Might have bearing damage, I won't know until I open it up. Before everybody speculates as to what it is, we don't know. So I'm going to pull the engine, tear it down, and we're going to find out what happened. I don't know. We're going to take it apart, see what's wrong with it, because that's all you can do. You can sit around and complain, point fingers, or you can get after it, take it apart, find a solution, make the repair, and get it back in service. I'm in here on a Saturday morning, got the shop to myself. I'm going to focus on this thing, get the engine out. She's hurt. Sometimes stuff doesn't go the way you want it to. This engine never got hot. I never saw it get over 217, maybe was the highest it ever got. That was the end of a full hard pull. And as soon as I let up, the cooling system just did what it was supposed to do and cooled it right back down. This thing was basically cruising around 203. You can actually see our coolant tabs are still intact, helping me verify that I've never overheated it. So that's a good thing. You saw my oil pressure right before when I pulled it in this morning, and it was good, at least cold. It's actually read good hot, because I was paying attention to that when I was trying to figure out what was going on with it. You can definitely see it's been running fat, but you can also see we have massive amounts of oil coming out of hole number 3, which we already knew. So I'm going to get this thing up on an engine stand. I got about 4 hours in pulling this out. Not too bad, considering how tight that front is. It's kind of precarious getting the radiator out of this thing because it's so tight. But I wanted that mechanical fan with the mechanical fan clutch, and because they work, and they work really well. And I like running them because of that. I have seen electric cooling fans that won't hold up in the heat, and sometimes that's the difference between completing a trip or sitting on the side of the road with a coolant spill blowing out underneath your car. So on the bright side, you know, the famous words of Monty Python, always look at the bright side of life. I did have a contact point on the header on this side at the torsion bar, so this will give me a chance to clearance that. It'll give me a chance to wipe down everything inside the engine bay again and clean off all the bits that are under the hood so that when I do deliver this, it will be nice and tidy. Not too much else to do. I did have a small transmission leak that I couldn't figure out where it was coming from, and I did figure out after the last couple times on the dyno that it had a transmission cooler line that had rubbed against the harmonic balancer at some point, and I could wipe off everything under the car and I didn't see any leaks, and then a couple days later there'd be a drip under the car. I'm like, what the heck is that? And then I finally figured out that it's the cooler line. So I'll build new cooler lines, and I'm going to route them differently anyways, because when pulling this engine out, getting the starter out was very difficult because of the trans cooler lines. So when I build the new ones, I will build them in a way so that if you have to do a starter on it down the line, you don't have to remove trans cooler lines to do it. With the headers in place, I can get the starter in and out, but with the trans cooler lines in place, I could not. So I'll want to fix that, because if I ever have to put a starter in this thing, I'm not going to want to have to fight it, especially when I've already had the chance to solve that and make it serviceable along with being custom. I'm just going to pop the intake off, pop the head off, pop the oil pan off, and pull the piston out, and then we will figure out what's going on with it, and I'll film it straight through. I'm not trying to hide anything. I believe that we as a society are way too I don't know what the term is. I don't know what to call it, but everybody's afraid to be caught in a mistake. I make mistakes all the time. I talk about my mistakes all the time. This might be a mistake that I made. It might not be a mistake I made. It's definitely something that I have to fix. So it doesn't matter whether I caused the problem or somebody else caused the problem. It's got to be resolved. I promised my customer a fresh crate motor, and if I have to strip it down and put rings in the whole engine and whatever, then that's what's going to happen so that I can provide him with what I promised him. That's what you do. You fix it when stuff breaks. Everything breaks. My AC broke last year. It shouldn't have. It should have been fine. But it was also, you know, it needed fixed. So my sump pump broke 2 years ago. It flooded my basement. It wasn't that old of a pump. Stuff breaks. The problem is it breaks and it causes bigger problems. Catching this when I caught it is a good thing, because had the customer been driving it and had this happen, he may not have noticed it. He could have run it out of oil and had a way worse failure, including, you know, crank damage, bearing damage, which I don't believe we'll see any bearing damage because my oil pressure is amazing. They glued and tattooed those gaskets down, didn't they? There it goes. Everything looks normal in there. It's like gasket material, but it's not. That's weird. Oh, we often talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's like exhaust gasket material. I wonder if it's head gasket material, but why would it be in the oiling system? That's a new one. It's like exhaust gasket material is what it looks like, but that's a weird thing to find where I found it. I'm going to blow the engine off, so I'm going to set the valve cover back down on it, hit it with some compressed air just to blow the dirt out, get it out of my cracks, that way my disassembly is nice and clean. I'll pull that hose off real quick. It actually looks pretty good. It's oil residue. I don't think that was an exhaust leak there. But I do actually have what looks like I have is an exhaust leak over here, which will affect my fueling with the fuel injection system. So we have to figure out a solution for that, which means a better gasket than this, a gasket that comes up more. There's leaking there too. So that means our AFRs with that fuel injection system would have never been correct. I guess we're getting some silver lining in all of this. You got oiled all down here, which I had a really bad front seal leak, and I thought it was an oil pan, but I ended up putting a front seal in it, and then that leak went away. So, small things that can cause big problems. Roller tray looks good. We got what we asked for, which was a roller cam. That's good. What other presents am I going to find in here? Pull off this bank of rockers and the push rods, and then pull the head off. Get to see the real damage. I always check my push rods when I pull them out. It's got RTV on it. Make sure the ball ends are on both sides. That RTV was probably from putting the RTV on this bolt hole here, because this hole is open, so they put RTV on it. And oh no, that bolt's blind. That's the only open them. No, it's got a oh, it is open all the way through. So is that one. So is that one. So is that one. Okay, so those are open all the way through. When you roll them side by side like that, it lets you know if there's a bent one or not, which it looks like we're good. We don't have any bent push rods. Let me grab a bucket, I'll be right back. It's going to make a big mess as the coolant galley will empty itself all over the floor. I guess I can pull that galley plug. Please pause while I collect my tools. Next step will be pulling head bolts. I'll go ahead and pull the spark plugs out, and we'll see if the galley plug will come out. We'll drain the coolant out of the block. Lost my hanger bolt. I knew it was getting loose. Where'd it go? Hey, Found it. Little guy. Comes loose on me every now and then. I need to put some Loctite on it. It would be my kind of luck that I would drop that into an engine that I want. Those do not seem like they're torqued very tight. Whatever. Oh, that one's still tight. I missed that one. So we have 5 long, 5 short. Remove our toe saver bolt. Oh, there's another piece of stuff. So understand this engine came to me as a long block assembled with intake, valve covers, oil pan, front cover, all the gaskets installed. So this is quite the surprise that I'm tearing this down before this thing even has 500 miles on it. The good news is it's not foreign object damage. I don't see any damage to this piston. So that's a relief. Oh wow, it's a head gasket. It's a head gasket failure in number 3. So those chunks of material I'm finding are head gasket material. Well, that poses the question, do I put a head gasket set on it? Then I can do a cylinder leak down. Well, that would be good news. What's weird is I never saw high temperatures. Huh. That's a first. I think we'll pull the other head off and we'll cycle the... That explains why all that gasket material was in this area. Because it's blown. Alright. Let's see the failure where she's blown out. Not so much there or there, but right there. That's weird. Well, that's actually the best case scenario for what I was thinking, because I was thinking I screwed something up and like dropped a bolt down in the hole or broke a piston or did something dumb. So that tells me my oil pressure's still good, which I knew. My engine temp never got hot, and it blew out in a spot that's not cooled. I'll have to run that by some of my machinist friends. That's an interesting one. But it's the best case scenario. And I'm glad even though I probably didn't need to pull the engine out of the car to do this, I'm glad I did, because if I had just pulled this head and found that, I would have put it back together and I still would have missed the exhaust gasket leak that's going on over here. On number 8, you can see it was leaking on both sides of the gasket now that the gasket's off. So I would have never been able to get the fueling correct on this, because that exhaust leak on that bank is my O2 reference for the fuel injection system. So my fuel injection system would have always been compensating to the fat side. And I was having that problem. I looked all over this thing looking for leaks, and I could not pick that leak up, so that's something to think about. The paint's falling off the block anyway, so I'm going to repaint it with some better paint. Yeah, let's figure out what's going on from there, because that's a good news, bad news. Sorry, it's a bad news, good news situation. If you're going to break stuff, don't break it the expensive way. So it's all right. I got 4 hours of pulling it out. I got a couple hours of tearing it down. We'll clean everything up. I'll put a coat of paint on the block. I don't think I'm going to pull the oil pan. I think I'm going to leave that be. But I'll make sure with my machinist whether he agrees with that or not. He may want me to pull the oil pan just to check it for debris. But I think I found all the parts. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if the other side breaks loose with my impact as easily as this side did, which I could do that real quick. Just doing... Which socket did I have? My 16, yeah. Coming off a little easier, but it doesn't seem like a lot. So that's actually a relief. A lot of extra work to do it, but it is what it is. I'll figure out a solution for this exhaust leak. That's going to be something. Not sure how to fix that one yet. I'll take a look and see what kind of gaskets are out there. Got a scuff right there I've got a little concern with, but you might have to pull the oil pan after all. I'm not sure if everybody understands the mental stress that people go through doing stuff like this. Building a car like this for a customer is really an honor, and I appreciate my customers letting me do this stuff. I'm gonna go home and get some sleep. When I was coming back here today after lunch, I was literally falling asleep behind the wheel because I'm so exhausted because I haven't been able to sleep. And a blown head gasket's actually the best case scenario, so I'm pretty happy about that. We'll get back to it on Monday. $50 foot-pounds. Gaskets aren't very sticky. This one's not blown out. There's a bug. That's a critter. Couple of critters. Just a couple small bits of head gasket material. Down here, Mr. Engine Oil Pan. So we're going to put some copper seals on it. Hopefully they'll seal up a little better. Oh goodness. Couple pieces of schmutz in our pickup tube. Get out of here. Go away. I don't want you here. Crank looks nice. Matching strikes. I think everything looks pretty good. Well, all things considered, it's a bad situation, but it could be worse. Since the engine's out, I'm going to repaint the engine block, and I have some cooler lines to remedy, and a header tube to resolve a clearance issue on. But I think we'll be alright to reuse the oil pan gasket. It looks to be a nice reusable piece. You know, it's not a great scenario, but you make of it what you can. It's time to get the parts cleaned up and put it back together. Hopefully for the last time. Thanks for watching. Click like, subscribe, leave us a comment below. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next one.